If you're struggling to lose weight, doing everything right, but the weight just is not shifting, the problem could actually be in your gut. Gut health is directly related to our weight, and today I'm going to explain exactly how your gut could be causing a weight gain issue or a weight stall. And I'm also going to tell you exactly what you can do to fix it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do to heal poor gut health and get your weight loss back on track. So first, we need to understand what is the microbiome. The word microbiome is thrown around a lot, but I find not many people actually know what it is. So here's a really easy way to remember what it is. The microbiome is millions of microorganisms living in our digestive tract. So that includes bacteria, fungi, and viruses. But today we're going to focus on bacteria. Every single person has a completely unique microbiome, sort of like a fingerprint. We all have a unique one. Our microbiome is a living organ in itself, influencing everything from immunity and hormones to mood and metabolism and, yes, our weight. And here's something really fascinating. Our microbiome is actually passed down from our mother at birth. So here's how that works. When we're born vaginally, we get covered in bacteria. Then when we're breastfed, we get our first official gut full of mum's bacteria, quite literally. Breast milk, as it happens, contains over 200 unique strains of bacteria. There was a time when all the experts thought that breast milk was sterile, but it turns out, no, it's not. It is there to feed us bacteria right from the very start. So, with our skin being covered in mum's bacteria and our gut being flooded with that bacteria from the very beginning, this is the foundation on which we each build our own unique microbiome. As we get older, our microbiome works closely with our immune system. And this is exactly where the link between gut health and weight begins. So think of our microbiome as our first line of defense. When food comes into our gut, it could contain harmful bacteria or other substances that our body doesn't actually want or need. Our microbiome, the bacteria in our gut, is the first defender. They're protecting us. And all those bacteria also protect our gut wall, which is really, really important for healthy digestion. So if those bacteria can't do their job properly, we end up with a gut that isn't functioning very well. And that's where our weight issues start. Now, what actually makes a healthy microbiome, you might ask? Well, the answer is diversity. So the more varied our bacteria is that's in our gut, the healthier and more resilient our microbiome is, and also our immune system. And resilient is the key word. Diversity simply means we want many different strains of different bacteria. Think of it like a global population. We have Italians, Asians, Americans, and the same principle of making up a global system relates to our gut. So we want lactobacillus and bifidobacteria and SB, which is a type of yeast. This is what makes a nice, resilient, healthy microbiome. There are two dominant beneficial families in the gut that make up 90% of our entire microbiome. And here's the thing, we cannot get them from a capsule. We cannot buy them. We have to get them from feeding those strains of bacteria with the right type of food. The balance between these two families matter enormously for our weight. So I'm going to put the names of these two families of bacteria for the people that really want to know. But more importantly, research consistently shows that people with obesity tend to have an imbalance between these two families of bacteria. And this is really important because some people's gut bacteria are more efficient at extracting calories from food than others. So if we put that into a real life situation, that means if you and I sat down to have dinner and we were having exactly the same meal, my gut bacteria might give me more calories from that meal than yours. And that happening over and over again would obviously mean that I'm going to gain weight. And, this might actually explain why some people can just eat and never gain weight. It's just not fair, is it? So here's the encouraging part, though. As we lose weight, that ratio of bacteria changes as well, and it tends to rebalance itself. So our gut bacteria both influence our weight And as we lose weight, it slowly shifts towards the healthy balance again. If we're eating the right foods, that is. This is actually one of the key ways that we can keep the weight off once it's gone for the long term. When our gut bacteria are out of balance, it affects our entire system as well, which, as we know, affects weight control too. So healthy bacteria ferment fiber to produce something called short-chain fatty acids, which fuel our gut lining. They also reduce inflammation and regulate fat storage. But when those bacteria are depleted, that whole process breaks down completely. And our hunger hormones, the ones that tell us when we're full and when to burn fat, they are directly regulated by our gut. So an unhealthy microbiome can leave us feeling hungrier, storing more fat, and burning less fat off our body, which is exactly the opposite of what we want, right? So where did all this go wrong? Well, over time, our gut lining becomes damaged. Remember, our gut lining is there to protect our entire body from substances that we don't want getting through from the environment around us. So we have tiny little channels in our gut called tight junctions. When the gut is damaged, those junctions become not so tight anymore. And we end up with what's known as leaky gut. I'm sure you've heard of it. Leaky gut allows toxins to seep into our bloodstream, which then triggers a low-grade chronic inflammation. So the word chronic just means long-term. That, in turn, drives insulin resistance and makes weight gain almost inevitable. And without enough diversity in our gut, including the key species that protect the gut wall and keep everything in check, the whole system slowly breaks down. And after years and years of this, we end up on blood pressure medications, with diabetes, with high cholesterol, and the list goes on and on. So what can we actually do to fix this? The good news is that food will rebuild a healthy gut, and it's much easier than you might think. Our gut bacteria absolutely thrive on fiber. Fiber is their food. You might have heard of the term prebiotics. Well, prebiotics is actually just a fancy word for fiber. By eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, which also happen to be the best for weight loss, our bacteria will ferment that fiber and produce short-chain fatty acids that protect our gut lining and keep inflammation in check. See how all this works together? We already know if we're inflamed, we're likely to gain weight. If we have leaky gut, we're likely to gain weight. It all works together. So no fiber literally means more inflammation and most likely a leaky gut. It really is a direct connection. Then there are prebiotic foods, specifically foods that literally feed our good bacteria. So we're talking things like garlic, onion, leeks, asparagus, bananas, oats, and these are some of the very best foods that you can get to feed your gut bacteria. Think of them as a fertilizer for our microbiome. But if you want something even better, you want fermented foods and even drinks, things like kombucha. So you can get things like kimchi or sauerkraut or kefir will help to increase diversity. And remember, diversity is the single most important thing that we're aiming for. Polyphenol-rich foods like berries, green tea, and even dark chocolate, the sort without the sugar, have been shown to increase populations of some of our most beneficial bacteria in our gut. So yes, dark chocolate does count, but try and get like the 90% cocoa sort without all the added crap in it. And the most important thing of all is to reduce the ultra-processed foods, something you hear me go on about all the time. So you can see now how a low-fiber diet is the fastest way to wipe out all the good bacteria and promote all the bad bacteria. And if you add some sugar onto that, you're going to have a nice, healthy population of bad bacteria fueling diseases and making you feel terrible. Processed foods rely on stabilizers and additives to preserve them, and those substances actually kill our bacteria. You need to link that in your mind, because think about it like this. They're putting stabilizers and things in the food to extend the shelf life to make sure that the bacteria don't get to those foods, right? So they're literally trying to kill off bacteria so that the food doesn't go bad while it sits on the shelf waiting for someone to buy it. But when you eat that type of food, it's damaging your own bacteria as well. Some could even say that they're slowly killing us too. We simply cannot have a healthy, diverse microbiome if we're living on processed foods. It's really that simple. So here's the way I like to think about it. Every single meal is either feeding a good healthy bacteria or it's starving them. And those bacteria have a direct say in our weight. They also have a direct say in our hormones and our hunger levels and the amount of inflammation in our body. So the very best thing that we can do for our weight loss journey starts with good food choices. I know, it always comes back to food, doesn't it? Anyway, now you can see how you can reduce inflammation by working on your gut health directly, and how good bacteria and lots of diverse, healthy bacteria might actually get you through your weight storm. If you want more information on how to lose weight effectively, watch my video and I explain a lot more about nutrition specifically for weight loss, and I'll see you in there.